Welcome to the Howzit.ca podcast, where we share insightful stories and advice aimed at helping South Africans settle, explore, and succeed in Canada.
Hi, my name is Melanie and welcome to the Howzit.ca podcast. Today on our show, I'm joined by Andrea van die Kerk, a lady who certainly needs no introduction to South Africans in Canada. Andrea started a YouTube channel that spread like wildfire, sharing her experiences about life in Canada, from experiencing winter in Canada through to seeing Canada in 44 seconds. She's a yoga instructor, a kick-ass entrepreneur, and a connector of note. Welcome, Andrea. It's great to have you on our show.
Is that even me? Oh my word. Thank you so much, Melanie. That's awesome. Okay, so this is the first time I've heard anybody say my stuff back to me, and I'm actually blushing. That's really cool. Thank you for that nice intro. That's amazing, and I feel very special. And I'm excited to do a podcast with you today. It's really nice.
It's going to be great. I think we're going to have lots of fun and lots of laughs. So let's get on to this journey. Tell us about how long have you been in Canada?
I was actually thinking about it yesterday. I keep telling people 3 years, but it's 3 years and almost 3 years, 5 months already. So I feel like some people say to me, oh my word, you're still fresh off the boat. I really don't think so. I feel like I'm home and I'm settled, and yeah, so it's like almost 3.5 years.
Oh, fantastic. And your family, you came with your family. Tell us more about your family and how did you guys get here?
We got here because of my beautiful Kevin. So he worked for an IT company in Cape Town, and we got transferred basically to Canada, which is really awesome. And our girls are Georgia and Madison. Georgia is now 18 and Maddie is 16. So Georgia's just finishing her final year at school and has been accepted at Brock University. So very, very excited.
Yay.
And so the four of us are here and happy landings.
And you mentioned that you got transferred, or Kevin got transferred. So was Canada the first option, or did you guys consider any other options?
You know, with Kev's company, because it's a global company, I mean, we had options for Singapore, and then there was an option for Milan. And of course, I was so stoked about that. You can just imagine, I'm like almost 15% fluent in Italian on my Duolingo app. And if you know anything about me, I'm Mrs. 150%. I just like give all my energy. And so I was speaking Italiano to the dogs, and I was so excited. And my kids are saying to me, Mom, are you crazy? You're not going to Italy. You can't speak English. And I was like, but Milano, it's the fashion capital of the world. And, you know, Kevin and I had a lot of discussions around that. And I think what's important is we made the decision after that actually to come to Canada because we realized that English actually was very important. So it was a very good learning curve to go through all of those things and think about where and how we would fit in, but also specifically for our kids and also for Kev. I mean, he's in a sales environment where you're talking to customers every day. You need to be able to speak the language to close deals. Very important.
Yeah.
So Canada was definitely our next choice. And somebody actually... a destination consultant gave me brilliant advice, and she always said, find a place where if you integrate, that it's the language of choice, so that your kids can integrate well, you can integrate well and find friends. So I think it's a very good point, actually.
Absolutely. I think the language for us, I remember my daughter, when we came over, she was 12, and she got off the boat and she could speak the Canadian English. She just YouTubed every single Canadian that she could find. And so she stepped off that plane and she started speaking, and I had to turn around and say, who is this kid that's talking? You know, and now I need her to order my coffee because I still, with my accent.
I know. It's bad. There are definitely certain things that I say that are Canadian, and I cringe when I do it, but I'm aware that I'm doing it, but it helps with the conversation. And I was saying in one of my blog posts actually today, is talking about kids at school. The little kids, they speak Canadian very quickly because they're sponges. They just hear it all day. And the older kids, the teens, they do it to fit in because they need to fit in, right? So my kids were speaking Canadian at school, but South African at home. So there you have it.
Absolutely. And when sometimes they'll throw an Afrikaans word or two when they need to speak in a private conversation still.
I love it. So it's great. My kids actually wish they spoke more Afrikaans. They said the other day, because I speak Afrikaans at home every now and then. I'm not Afrikaans at all. I'm like, you have no idea, but I just love the language. When I was in South Africa, I just loved to speak it. But so every now and then I speak to them in Afrikaans and they're like, sorry, what does that one word mean again? So like, it's out of sight, out of mind. They start to forget quickly.
They do, but it's all been good. So what did you do in South Africa? Did you always do what you do here right now?
Oh, definitely not. I promise you, my life has changed completely. Actually, you can probably hear that I'm smiling. But when I was in South Africa, I come from the construction industry of all things, but I was in sales, corporate sales, and I had the most rocking job ever. I had a wonderful boss, a wonderful job. I had a great time. I had just really amazing people that I worked with, met amazing people there. And I was very, very sad to leave. So that was me.
So all the way from construction into yoga, that is
who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
I know. It's crazy. I think for me, in Cape Town, I used to, I suppose we used to go to the gyms, Planet Fitness and all that to try and exercise. And running on the road wasn't really ideal for reasons you know why. And also I think I love being fit. Our whole family's like that. We love exercise. When I got to Canada, I remember a couple of months in, it was snowing heavily outside. We landed in the January. So, it's like bitterly cold, right?
Super cold, yeah.
And then I was in the basement of our new house. And I was like, this is so sad. I can't believe it. I can't run. How do you run in snow? By the way, you can actually run in the snow if you really want to. You buy these track things that you stick under your shoes. You buy them from Canadian Tire. But at the time, I didn't know. And so I started streaming yoga online on YouTube. And then there was this girl and I was doing all these things. But I had back pain because, man, I was cleaning house all day. And I was running up and down the stairs and moving furniture. And that broke me. I was done. So I started doing the yoga and I actually really, really enjoyed it. And then there was this lady called Mandy at my church and she used to go to this yoga studio and she said to me, why don't you come along? It's only $5 donation yoga. And like Melanie, when you're South African, you first land there, it's all about the cost of stuff. You're freaking out about $5 Starbucks coffee. It's like, oh my gosh, that's 50 Rand and you're still converting. And I was trying to look at the price of gyms and I didn't want to join a gym because we didn't kind of know where we wanted to live. For a long time. So, you want to be near a gym where you're going to live. So, and I was like, no, it's too expensive to join the gym. So $5 donation yoga was doable. Got to the yoga class and I never stopped. I did yoga about 2 to 3 times a week. And I learned from scratch how to do yoga. But it was also a very intricate, emotional journey for me. So for somebody that didn't know anything about yoga, I thought yoga was for hipsters, for people that ate seeds and not meat and wore like big puffy pants. So when I got to yoga and I couldn't actually believe how difficult it was, how hard the poses were. I mean, I'd walk out, I could wring my clothes out from sweating. And I just fell in love with it. I loved it. But it was also a great place for me to release my stress. So there was a lot of stuff that I had to work through when I got to Canada. Stuff I hadn't thought through. The stress of moving countries alone is crazy. And I think when my kids could now start going to school in Canada, I had a lot of alone time in a safe place kind of to reflect and think. And I'd been through a little bit of trauma in South Africa before and I really hadn't dealt with any of that stuff. So yoga was my release. It was my way to have a lekker good cry on my mat every now and then. It was good for me. So it could be yoga for you. It could be running for somebody else on the road. Everybody has their thing or their way that they can release stress or trauma or whatever. And that was my thing. And I promise you, it was not even that long. It was 1 year and 6 months. And my yogi, the teacher, said, you know what, you're so ready to be a teacher. I said, I'm so not. And I was in complete denial. I hadn't really thought about it. And I was like, well, I stutter, I don't know. And literally I started my training and I qualified in October last year. And I haven't looked back. I absolutely love it. I've never felt fitter. I feel healthy. My body's strong.
And it's important to meet. That's also one of the ways that you could meet people. So the social impact of that should not be put aside. It really is quite important.
Absolutely true. And on that point, it's like if you're not going to do yoga or you're a runner or whatever, you can do park runs in Canada and meet people. That's what people do. But so I met a lot of people. I got connected with a lot of people and I started teaching at a studio on Kerr Street in Oakville called The Space. I did that for 5 months. And I mean, I was nervous. I remember like studying, what am I going to teach these people? And I had a great little following, but I was paying rental and, like having my own little business. And then I went to South Africa, came back, COVID hit, and I am fully online now. So my life is awesome. I can do all my yoga at home. It's fantastic.
It's great how it's adapted. I just want to step back for a second and just here's a tip for the South African, and maybe I don't know if you know about this, but talking about running in the snow, we have done something very interesting, and you can have a look online. It's called Polar Rush.
No,
it's fantastic. It is an outdoor run. It's about an hour and a half away from Toronto City, and you run in the snow. It's like a trail run in the snow.
Yeah.
It is the most fun that you could have. You stay in a wonderful area and you run like through the woods, up the snow, across barriers and things. It is a super amount of fun.
I want to do that.
Yeah, so we're doing it every year. So I'll put it up on social media, on the Howzit social media, and we'll get a group of Sapphirs going. We were 5-6 South Africans that did it this year.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. You could do it with your kids, I think, from about 11 years old. Great amount. We bought the tracks that you talk about. They work as super charm.
Okay.
And also one thing that they do here for if you're a runner is there's a place called the Running Room, which is a big sports center where you can buy all your sport gear.
Cool.
And they have once a week, they've got a free running session. So you can join them they right throughout Canada, and so you can meet.
I've actually seen it.
Yeah,
cool.
They're very cool. So sports is very much alive, and I think and yoga is also a big thing.
It's huge, even in the schools now.
Yes. So here's a cool one. My son, when we did the COVID, when it just hit, we all think about what plan we should have, where should we integrate them, what should they do, math should come first, English and lessons online. And I sent them, the teacher sent us a message about, here's how you need to go online and what you need to do. And I said, okay, what's the first thing that we need to do so I can get a program? I am a little list, tick off the list, and he needs to do this. And the first thing she had on her list was, it is imperative. Okay. She said that you have to do 30 minutes yoga a day with your son. I'm like,
I love her.
Never mind English, never mind math. Yoga's what you got to do. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You know what?
Totally. That's so cool. When you said Polar Rush, I thought you were going to say Polar Dip, because I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Love you guys. But my friend Marte, she's also South African that's been living here. She did it for her office, or she did it for funding. And you know what the polar dip is, hey? When they go run into the lake in their consies in the dead of flippin' winter.
It's crazy. It's crazy what they do. But the people just love it here. We live close to an area called the Beaches, and they've got
nice.
a gentleman here. He's 72 years old, and for the last 40 years, 365 days a year. And let me tell you, it gets to below 20 at some stage here. He is on the water on the beach. He's paddle boating in minus 20 degrees.
Hardcore.
It's hardcore, and he's 72. So hats off. People, weather doesn't make any difference.
No, exactly. And there's also cross-country trekking, whatever they do. You put skis on and you actually walk with your skis, something like that. There are so many options in the snow. So you're right. There's no excuse, hey?
No excuse. So how did your routine change with the kids and just settling in? Was that a big thing for the kids and for yourselves?
I think, when we first landed here, so we got here in the January, the kids only started school in March. So that for us, it was like being on this one fat holiday. So it was adventures in downtown. We were very lucky. Kev, when we moved here, his company moved us over, and it's a really soft landing. I'm super grateful. To all of the South Africans that come here and they don't have jobs. I feel for you guys. I really do. So it's a soft landing. We were here for 3 months. We had an apartment and a car that we could use. And so our routine was just kind of like jolling around, checking out stuff, but at the same time looking for a place to stay, a house, because you can't get a school until you've got an address, as you know.
Yeah.
And so we were doing that every single day. I think the estate agent's shame. I think she thought, these poor people, high maintenance. Do you know what it is? I think being South African and arriving in January, all you're looking for in a house is something with big open windows and sunlight. And,
Yeah.
and you get here and it's dull and it's gloomy and the clouds are thick and it's going to snow any minute. And the houses you walk into, you're like, you're kidding me. It's so this or it's so that, or the pink walls and the blue walls. And then it's just very confusing. And if you are lucky enough where it doesn't really matter where you live because you can either work from home or you commute only once a week to the office, it even broadens your horizons even more. So, yeah, sorry, I'm going off topic talking about a house, but yeah, I think the stage is like, what are we going to do with these people? Where are they going to move? So in the day, we would go and look for houses. I looked at over 50, I'm not kidding you, 50 houses, until the estate agent said, you know what, we think that you guys are West Enders, which means Oakville, Hamilton, Burlington kind of people. And I didn't really understand why until they told us, no, they've heard that a lot of South Africans live out that way. And
they do.
So anyway, that's how we ended up here in Oakville. But yeah, so during the day, that's what we would do. And eventually when Kev was in the mode of working, the kids were at school, we got into a routine pretty quickly. It was actually very exciting and really nice. I mean, Madison wanted to walk to school every day. And she was 12 at the time when we got here. And for her, it was awesome. I promise you, it would snow. She's like, no, I'm walking. All her friends are walking to school. And I think it's that freedom of, I'm walking to school and people respect you in the traffic. The kids going to school on sleds even. Their parents are pulling them, hey, like the little kids.
It's awesome.
And the older kids are either going by bus or walking. So yeah, it was, that part of it was great. Maddie I wouldn't have to go fetch her. She'd walk home from school. And the kids also, elementary school, they don't do homework, I found. They would do a lot of their schoolwork at school. And then every now and then they'd have homework when they came home. I wasn't working at the time. We decided that I would take the time out to make sure that everybody's adjusted and settled. So I was at home. I could cook dinner. Kev would, come home. And it was great. It really didn't change a lot. Oh, actually, you know what we found is that Canadians stay up very late.
They do, don't they?
And I tried to figure out what it was. And we became very good friends with a guy whose whole family, he plays hockey, his kids do. And he phoned Kevin one day and said, Kev, hey, dude, do you want to come play hockey with us? We booked the rink from like 11 till 12. We're like, tomorrow? He's like, no, tonight, till midnight. We're like, what? I was like, Kev, I'll be in bed, you go. He's like, no, I'm tired. I need to go to bed. And I think I realized also this, maybe it's because the summers, it gets dark really late. People use all the time they have. It's not a thing. And maybe it's, I don't know, Melanie, maybe it's got to do with safety. Like you can come home at midnight and you're driving on the road, it's completely okay. I think maybe that's the thing.
I think so too, because they would have, if you look at the activities for the kids, so there's not a lot of sport within the schools. It depends on what school you go to, obviously. Yeah. And there is sports. Sports are a good big element, but a lot of it's played out of school kind of environments. That's right. So there's lots of volleyball going on for us and basketball, and those are done at other places. So the kids at 8-year-old has a lesson at 8 to 9 at night.
Yeah, I know.
And you drive them around. So that does happen. For me, it's just the experience that I've had is that they really love.
Yeah.
You
are so right.
It's difficult to explain. But
before COVID, he's with 2 bands. So he plays acoustic and bass. He plays with a bunch of guys and they book it's awesome. I mean, they have professional studios here that you can book. It's not that expensive. With those, those special glassed off sound rooms, you can jam away. He's with one group that's out in on the side near Mississauga. The other one is in downtown, a more indie band. It's so cool. And, people do stuff that you don't really think about, and anything is possible. It just makes me very excited.
It's great. And it's great to see one of the things talking about COVID and how people are just using the time is like you've got your yoga sessions that's online and you can serve South Africa and you can serve Canada and you said that you've got people is it in Australia or New Zealand?
Yes,
as well?
my brother lives in Melbourne, so his kids do my yoga class. If the timing's right, they do my yoga class. It's a Thursday, 7 p.m. So tonight I teach at 7 p.m. and then they can do it because it's 9:30 in the morning for them. So unless they're going to school, but I think the Australians are back at school. They've opened the schools after COVID. I'm not sure, but I'd have to check. Yeah. So and then I've got people in the UK that do my class, and there's another girl in Scotland. So it's my mom always jokes, she's like, oh, my daughter's this global player. I just want to die. I'm like, Mom, please. So it's super funny. But yeah, it opens the world up to so many new things. And I wouldn't necessarily have done it if it wasn't for COVID. You get pushed into or pushed out of your comfort zone. And I'm grateful. I'm like, you know what? Oh, my word, this is just so great for me. It's wonderful.
It's going to. I think the way that it's going to change the way that people work is going to be different. It's going to be good, and we'll see it. But the business, to me, the business impact has, because of the country having such a strong economy, it could support you being being in this country, and the support structures is really good. So that's fantastic in terms of where this country is going.
No, absolutely.
And what would you say to people kind of still coming over? Would you say this is a good time to come over?
You know, I was thinking about it earlier. Sorry, I'm trying to get my computer sorted here. I'm talking about whether, people should come over with COVID or not. I think that if you think about how many people pay tax in South Africa versus how many people are paying tax in Canada, and looking at the recovery rate in terms of our economy, I would rather be in Canada
Absolutely.
right now than maybe in South Africa. I don't want to diss South Africa. It's just those are the facts. And I think that we're going to be very lucky in terms of the recovery of our economy after COVID. And I'd rather be here, even having a job with a minimum wage, and kind of having a life with insurance and medical aid, etc., than maybe, sitting it out in South Africa. So my advice would be come, get yourself together, get your papers. Don't stop now. If you've come this far or you're thinking about it, don't stop. So, I just think that's the way to go.
I think one of the things that blew my mind is just the support that they've got for people in smaller businesses. And one impressive thing was that they are supporting the students. There is a fund for the students that would not be able to have a summer job at this time, because that's how they would support themselves, going into the university to pay their fees when summer starts, or when the new year starts again. They've got funds for that because the country is in a state to do that. So I would agree with that. Absolutely. So you kind of landed up in Oakville. South Africans in Toronto specifically, they land up in either the Markham side or the Oakville, and then you've got the rebels like us landing up in downtown.
I love it.
We love it. By the way, we had people. We standing outside yesterday talking to one of our friends, South African friends, that popped in and dropped off something. And as we were chatting, a couple walked past us, and they greeted us in Afrikaans. And it's actually people South African down the road that's been here for 27 years.
Wow!
And so it's amazing. So South Africans are more common around the areas that you think, but you guys landed in Oakville. Why Oakville? You said that your real estate agent said you are West Enders, right?
I know, and I was like, what is that? Like the West End? Like I've heard of that terminology before, and I think that doesn't refer to what he was talking about. But when we, Georgia actually was a very good field hockey player in South Africa. And when we I think this is what South Africans do. You're just trying to find some kind of thing that will connect you back home, or that will allow your kids to get settled quickly. So whether it's a house that looks similar, or whether it's the same car, or you have these South Africanisms in inverted commas that you bring with you to Canada. And it takes a while for you to actually realize that you can really let them go and you can do things differently. It's going to be okay. So one of the things, a prerequisite for us, was Georgia needed to play hockey. That's what she did. She lived for hockey. That's all she ever wanted to do. So this is field hockey. We get to downtown and we inquired a lot of schools, and they don't always have field hockey as a sport in the downtown schools. However, in the Halton region, which Georgia goes to Abbey Park, they have field hockey as a sport. So, and most of the schools in our area, which is nice because school hockey is a great way to get into hockey. However, Georgia joined, she actually started playing for the province. She played for Ontario within 5 months of being here. And she went all over, and it was incredible. She was wearing a Canadian flag on her back, like within 5 months. I was almost in tears. It was amazing. And I think just on that point, if South Africans, a lot of kids play hockey, guys and girls. The standard, by the way, in Canada is extremely high. You would think that because it's a minority sport, that maybe it just wouldn't be at the same kind of standard as South Africa, because South Africans, we've got this attitude like, guys, like we're good at rugby and we're good at hockey and we're good at this and that. But let me tell you, the standard is unbelievable. They train at the University of Toronto a lot of the time. The facilities are incredible. Come rain or there's Astro, they cover it with these big domes. I mean, the facilities are incredible. And there's opportunity for, Georgia went to the States with her coach. And at the age of 15, they get scouted by the States, by universities over there. And I think Georgia looked at it and decided, but I'm in Canada. Why would I want to go to the US? Yeah. So that's a South African outlook on it. But other Canadians are going, wow, I could go to the US and get a full scholarship and play. For Georgia, that wasn't important for her. There was a lot of stuff going on at the time. And Georgia decided to give hockey a break. And believe it or not, she started playing girls rugby, and she started doing really well with girls rugby. It's very, very popular in Canada. Melanie, you know that, eh?
It's big, and the opportunity for both boys and girls, is enormous in terms of getting sponsorship. Rugby is big in Canada.
It's very big.
And we've have a couple of South Africans, and one of them would be on our next podcast, where their son plays for the junior Canadian team. So there's
fantastic.
It happens, and there's a great opportunity.
Yeah, that is amazing. Georgia actually went on a rugby clinic over the summer, and she'd never played kind of professionally or with a proper team that are kind of at the next level, sort of club rugby. And she said, Mom, it was incredible. If people are listening and they understand what combine testing is, they do combine testing. They had nutritionalists feeding them 3-4 times a day. She said, Mom, it was unbelievable. People don't get injured because they know how to handle, and they teach them how to. Georgia didn't know a thing about rugby, but she understood the rules because she's been watching rugby forever. And that's the only reason why she started playing. And when you take down somebody, you tackle them. I had no idea there was so many technical things around tackling somebody so that you don't get hurt, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, very, very impressed with that. And so that's kind of why we came to Oakville, found the hockey over here. She joined the local hockey team on this other club over here called the Halton Thrashers, played for them. And that was kind of why we came here. I'm so glad in a way, because I'm glad it brought us to Oakville. And in hindsight, we found out that there are clubs all over the place, and that, if the sport isn't at your school, you'll generally find the sport at a club. Yeah. Another interesting point for me, I think is very, very important, and I give a lot of people this advice that talk to me when they're coming from South Africa, is where should you live, or what are your suggestions, or what's your advice? My big thing is, and this is what our destination consultant told us, priceless information. Make sure that your kids integrate into a school where they are the majority and not in the minority. So we all good with any culture, race, whatever. There's absolutely no problem with that. But if your child is going to be the only kid, let's say there's only French schools in one area, and your kid goes to a school where they're only French kids, do you know how hard it's going to be for them to integrate because they don't speak the language?
Yes.
And in the same way, if your kid goes to a school in an area where there's one kind of population group going to that school, the culture is so stooped with those people that you'll find it hard to integrate. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does make sense.
Okay. So with the advice we were given is, if your child is English or English and they come from a Christian home or whatever, try and find something that is similar, and they will integrate well, and they will fly, and they will succeed. And my sister-in-law said to me in Australia, somebody told her the same thing, is we live in a world where there's a fabulous, especially Toronto, it's the most diverse city in the world. We have cultures, it's beautiful. That's what I love the most. It's one of my favorite things about Canada. But remember that when you slot your kids into these schools, it really is super helpful if you can find a school where they are in the majority.
I think that's priceless advice. I
Cool,
would definitely,
thanks.
I agree with that. And
Yeah.
we've been through the same, so I can vouch for that being exactly as you say. And it made a difference. And it is around. And it also depends on your values and your principles, and make sure that those are around, because it's important.
Yeah, Mel, just another thing on that point is that, like, there are some kids who are academically more inclined, and some kids who are more sport inclined. In fact, in Canada, there are even schools that focus on just sport. I think there's a school out there in Markham like that. We actually investigated. Very cool. And there's some kids who are completely academic. They just want to do math and science and chemistry and robotics and engineering. And so those schools won't be focused on sport. So if your kid is a sport kind of kid, it's really not going to help them.
Yeah. But there's so many options.
Yes.
It's no longer the option of just private school versus government school options. Within the government schools, the options of what they can have is enormous.
Exactly.
And they look at that talent. And if you cannot find the school within the school that it would offer everything that you need, there would be extra programs that can accommodate for that. And that's what makes it great.
Absolutely. I've got friends who, in South Africa, it's almost traditional where if you've got 3 kids, they all go to the same primary school and the same high school. I mean, that's how you do it. I know a lot of people in Canada where their kids go to all different schools to what their siblings went to. And it's because our children are different and their character types are different and they're looking for different things.
Absolutely. It's absolutely totally the same. Okay. So, Andy, your life's changed quite a bit. You are now the South African girl in Canada. Tell me about your blog and your website. What's happened with it? Where are you?
Okay, I can't believe I'm actually at this point. I still was thinking about it yesterday and just going, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this stuff. Who would have thought? So the blog was first to start, and then the YouTube channel kind of was born from that. So the blog was really about helping Canadians. I wanted to put stuff, I was writing a journal, writing about all the funny things that were happening, because I was talking to other Canadians and they were like, you should be on TV. This is so funny. Did you actually drive on the other side of the road? And all these funny things. You know how it is when you come to Canada. You find yourself in situations and you're like, I can't actually believe it. So I started journaling, and then I started formulating some stuff. And I thought, all I want to do is help other people, give them some tips, some advice, just from my perspective, my point of view. And then I put a couple of things together, like what to pack, what not to pack, how to get your driver's license, how to transport your pets to Canada, a couple of those things. And I was learning along the way how to insert images that I didn't pay for, that were and this and that, and links. And oh my word, it was great because I was using my brain and I was feeling stimulated and I had a bit of a purpose, and my life started coming together. And then I started my yoga journey. So I was doing the yoga in between, started my yoga teacher training, and I was sitting having coffee with a friend of mine. She is like a huge Instagram person. She's got like 25K followers, or what is it, million or K? I don't know, like loads. And she said to me, you know what? She speaks French, Aurélie. She said, you need to be on the YouTube. Your blog is okay, but your YouTube. So, and she was kind of telling me my character, my everything. You're good for camera. You're funny. Do it. Just get onto it. So then I told my kids, like, I think I should do YouTube. They're like, no, Mom, no. And I was,
started with a blog and now you're going to YouTube, Mom.
No, and for any child at school, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, let me just put it out there. Old people should not do TikTok. I'm just saying, guys, don't do it. Your kids don't want you to do TikTok. Don't get involved in their space, okay? So I was doing YouTube. So anyway, I developed this thing, got the YouTube thing going, and I did my first really junk video on unboxing my brand new yoga mat. And I even recorded it the wrong way. It was in portrait. It's supposed to be in landscape, like a whole long story. But I did it. And I got a whole lot of followers. And then I got some subscribers. I had like 15 subscribers. And I was jumping up and down. And I thought, you know what? My goal, all I need to do is get 50 subscribers. I would be so stoked. And then I created my next video. And it shot to 50. And now I'm excited. And then you like wake up every morning, like, how many more followers? Da, da, da. And comments were positive. And please, could you post on this? Could you tell us more about that? And I realized that this platform was kind of, for me, I didn't really do a lot of research. It was untapped in terms of you control the internet and get loads of information and text coming at you, and it's overwhelming. But if you can speak to somebody face to face, you can see them, they're normal, they have a South African accent, they say things that make you feel at home. They're sitting all the way in Canada. Maybe they can relate, and maybe they can feel, okay, I can maybe do this. And so people started giving me, it was just amazing positive feedback and asking for new videos. And I created new videos and new content. I used to drink so much coffee to gather up the guts to do these videos by myself. I got myself this cool selfie ring light. I was so set up. And I'd wait for the kids to go to school and do my hair, put my red lips on. That's my brand. And there you go. And then Sareen made me my intro and my outro, and that was my jingle. And I was having a ball, and I still have a ball. I absolutely love doing it. And so that's where I'm at.
So your videos go around grocery shopping in Toronto, how to get connected in Canada, immigration, as you said, what to pack and what to leave behind. That's a big thing that people ask about. You've now started blogging about or on your YouTube channel around the yoga as well, and you've got the online classes. So that's kind of really, it's taking a life on its own. That you've done with that. And you told us about the story about how you are doing that now and the space that you've had and it's moved online. How do people sign up for your classes? If I want to join your yoga class, how do I get on? And
okay, great. So what you need to do is it kind of feels almost old school, but you need to friend me on Facebook, and then I'll add you to my yoga group. I just find it's a great way to talk to people. It's very difficult to connect with people on Instagram. As much as I love Instagram, I can post stuff on my story, but people don't always see your latest information on Instagram. So add me, Andrea Van Niekerk, on Facebook. I'll add you to my yoga group, or you can join my WhatsApp group. So WhatsApp works everywhere, so that works really well. If you want to, you can on Instagram, you can DM me, and I'll send you the link for the WhatsApp group. Or on Messenger on Facebook, you can message me as well. You can also email me if you want to, and that's on Andrea@justmyscene.com. Just My Scene is my blog name, so you can go and have a look at all my blog posts there. And my YouTube channel is Andrea Van Niekerk, a South African girl living in Canada.
That sounds awesome. So there's no reason for people not to do yoga and to kind of find out about the new movies or the new videos that's coming along.
No, exactly. And also I think one of the things is, for me, Melanie, what has been very cool is that especially women in business are massively supported in Canada. I don't know if I'm saying it's because, I give it a lot of thought. Is it because it's a first world country? Is it because things are changing in the world? But I actually get so emotional. I get quite worked up about and I'm proud of the way I've been supported in my business. People pay for my classes. So if you go to justmyscene.com, you click on Yoga with Ands, you can buy my classes. So there are two options. You can either buy one class or you can buy 3 classes up front. And so the South Africans have been chatting to me and they're like, Ands, listen, it's a little bit expensive with the exchange rate. So I'm offering, and I'm putting it out there aloud for the first time. For the South Africans only, I offer them the same rate for 3 classes. I offer 6 classes for the same rate for South Africans, and that makes it really doable. And it's amazing. I've earned a cool salary this month doing online yoga, and it's about supporting women in business, and not just women. Let's support each other, I think, in our online businesses and the way things are moving. And it's an honesty system. And in Canada, that works really well. You pay for my classes and you do the 3 classes. And if you do 4, well, then that's on you.
Yeah.
But you pay as you can, which is really cool.
That's super awesome. I found that you've mentioned in terms of the doing business. That's one of the questions I get asked often is when you start up your business. That is incredible how people do not. I find that they don't negotiate. I don't know if that's the wrong word, but your price is your price. Mm-hmm. If that's the fee that you pay, they're prepared to pay that fee because they value your expertise and they value your input. So it's been a much easier journey to kind of start up a business in Canada. And that's why when people come over, a lot of time the questions that Howzit gets asked is, maybe the husband comes over with the job and the wife saying, I'm in a space where I want to start something new. how do I start that? And then we kind of introduce them to the accountant to say, let's have a look at your finances and make sure that you've got all of that covered. But it is easier for me personally. It was easier to start up a new business here. And it's a time to start a new journey. And people support people, absolutely. They support small businesses like I've never seen. Whether it's the fact that you don't have BE to kind of, to stop you, or whether it is the people just in general support small businesses, it's really fantastic. And it's one of the things I tell people, just go for it, because you'll find the support. Here's some interesting things I want to these ones I've been excited to ask you about.
Yes.
So the top 5 things very quickly for Andrea. So tell us, you've been asked this question on the YouTube channel. I thought let's answer it right here so we can tell people about it. What's the 5 favorite clothing stores in Canada for you?
Okay, so, oh wow. All right, so top 5 clothing shops. My number 1 is a shop called Aritzia. Oh. And Aritzia is stunning. You'll find them generally in the malls, and obviously they're online as well. But Aritzia you can find anything from they call it leisure wear. So it'll be like yoga pants and stuff, all the way through to really smart attire for like cocktail evenings and things like that. But it's high quality products. It's not cheap. So it's like my dream store. And if I want a birthday present, I'll tell Kevin, give me a voucher or whatever. I just want to go there and buy beautiful pants, or one pair of beautiful, a gorgeous jersey or whatever, for your one-offs and your beautiful things. I'm totally my store. Okay, I'm talking too much about Aritzia. My other store is obviously Lululemon. Totally. Go figure. Yeah. Absolutely. Lululemon's expensive as well. Because I do so much yoga, I wear all of their yoga pants. And they are amazing. You can wash them 5 million times and they just never get bollockis on them. They're just fabulous. They hug you in all the right places. You get these seriously high-waisted ones. So you tuck your tummy in, pull them up, and everything stays in place. My friends, it's the best thing ever. Okay?
There's a total ad for Lululemon.
Your stomach is still stuck to your stomach. It's not hanging over the basin. It's beautiful. My other store, so that's number 2. Number 3, actually, it's just a cool tip, but I love the Nike factory store.
Oh, yeah. The factory stores are big, right? Yeah.
They are big. Good, so that links with maybe saying the Toronto Outlet Mall, because it's worth going. They even have Aritzia there, which is cool.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of I don't always like going to the outlet mall because it is a bit mull. There are so many people. So you go during the week, take a day off if you're working, or go at a really odd time, because weekends it's just a nightmare. But there's parking, there's covered parking, they are so super organized. In winter, there are outdoor heaters everywhere and fires with Muskoka chairs, and oh my gosh, they've really, really stepped it up there. It's beautiful. My other store, believe it or not, for basics is the Gap store.
Oh, yeah. It's more affordable, right?
It's very affordable. But for your basics, I love fashion and stuff, but every girl needs to have a denim jacket. And I rate their denim jackets really highly. In fact, that line at the Gap store, they're actually quite expensive, but it's good quality. They have stretchy jackets, really, really nice. And then their basics, like long sleeve vests for winter. I buy extra big ones to sleep in, actually. They've got the short cut vests for summer, and they are just fantastic. And they're like $5, $10, $15 or whatever. Love it. And every now and then, if you want an extra that's completely random, like a yellow sweatshirt or something that you wouldn't usually buy, you go there. Yeah. So I love that place. And then the last one is I dig Winners. I'm a Winners girl. And it's scary to go in there. If you guys come here, you'll see, like, oh my gosh, they've got beautiful stuff. They've got from like Under Armour or not Nike. They don't have Nike usually, but they've got Puma or Reebok and stuff. They've got all of that there.
All the brand names, yeah. You'll find them, all of them.
They've got shoes, they've got bags, they've got scarves, they've got kids' toys, they've got yoga mats and blocks, they've got weights, they've got men's underwear, Calvin Klein. You name it. They've got everything there. They've got puzzles even. Like, it's just so cool. Halloween. They've got Halloween outfits when it's Halloween. It's very, very cool. So Winners is a major plus. If I need something urgently, like literally even winter parkas, like you'll get Calvin Klein or you'll get insane brands there. Go there. It's less than half the price.
Absolutely. Are you even in Canada if you haven't been to a winner? So that's kind of like
do not. We can't be friends.
Destination first. Yeah, exactly.
Mine too.
And the top five places when you get to Toronto. What's your top five places?
Top five places. It's like I'm a bit boring on this one. I was thinking because like everyone does the same thing. Maybe you'll agree with me, but you have to go and see the CN Tower. It's cool.
It's beautiful.
Look, you can't miss it. It's so massive, and you have to go to the top.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And take selfies on that glass floor. It's ridiculous. So you have to do that. Everybody goes to Niagara Falls. It is actually amazing. It's breathtaking. It's beautiful. So you need to go there. That's one of the things you do. The other thing that's pretty cool is to go to the Toronto Islands, and then on your way back, if it's evening or whatever, to actually see the approach on your little ferry or whatever it's called, as you approach Toronto itself and you see the city and the skyline from the boat.
It's magical.
Unbelievable. I love St. Lawrence Market. I love the vibe I love downtown. Everything about downtown is awesome for me. I love the vibe. I think it's romantic. I think it's a little bit grungy every now and then, certain places. It's super. So St. Lawrence Market is a great place to go and go do the CN Tower, do the aquarium and all those things that people do. Then go to the St. Lawrence Market, and I'll quickly tell you this. The first time I went there, it was freezing cold, and we went, the four of us, and we walked in and we found this pasta stand, and they make fresh pasta on site. So there are Ciao Italia, and they are busy rolling out the pasta and then knotting it and putting it in bags. They're making the pesto sauces and the marinara there, everything. We didn't have food. We had just landed. I bought a massive knot of spaghetti in a bag, pesto, and we bought a bottle of red wine and a bag of coffee. And we got into the TTC, which is the subway here, and it was freezing cold. We got home to our little condo, and I opened the kitchen door and I hung the pasta to rest on the door, found a pot, and the four of us, it's the best memorable meal I've ever had, was this beautiful pasta, the fresh basil pesto, glass of wine, and we're like, hey, we are in Canada. It's such a cool experience. So St. Lawrence Market is a must. You have to go there.
And there's a shop there, a butchery shop in St. Lawrence Market that makes the best boerewors. So
I didn't know that, but I did see the butchery there.
They do sliders of any shape, size, form, and meat. So they've got from kangaroo to bison to as I said, boerewors. Awesome. They sell biltong, so it's well worth your visit to go and see what they've got there. They've got goose, you name it.
You're kidding.
It's wonderful. It's a great experience to go and see. So St. Lawrence was opened up in 1853. So it's the oldest market in Toronto. It's an experience. They make also the best pastéis de nata. If you ever had those Portuguese styles.
Yes. That's everyone tells me. I haven't had it there, but I've heard they make the best. So just outside St. Lawrence Market, look, they've got great coffee in the market. But if you walk outside of the market,
it's called
there's a little coffee shop there. It reminds me of something from Harry Potter. It's called Balzac's. There's one
coffee
at Distillery District.
The best.
You've never lived until you've had a cup of their coffee. And the inside of that store is so cool. So there are many things that I could say, but it ends up always being about food for me, guys. Sorry about that. The views are great, and doing like Niagara. Niagara, I don't enjoy the food anywhere at Niagara Falls. As much as I love you, Canada, and I love Niagara, I'm not into it. But anywhere downtown, you are going to find the best food. You're going to find the best dim sum, sushi. Oh my gosh, all that stuff.
It's just the food's amazing here. And I think the South Africans love that Balzac's coffee. I actually met at that same store. I met a South African designer when we came over for a visit. And he said, that's the coffee shop you need to go. So it's got good memories. I think,
Oh, cool.
We can relate. Any other places that you've been?
You know what I also love doing is grabbing that cup of coffee and then either take an Uber or try and take a tram and get to the lake. And near the Amsterdam Brewery. And then with your coffee, you just get your shoes on and hit the lake. Just go walk. Yeah. It's absolutely divine and phenomenal. And all the crazy sights, all the people, I love it. I can't get enough of it. People with dogs everywhere. Pets. So that's really cool. I do love Niagara on the lake, which is completely different to Niagara Falls. Yeah. So that's like the whole wine industry and the wine areas and stuff. It's nothing like It's very different to Cape Town or Stellenbosch or Franschhoek, if you know those places, but we embrace it anyway. It's fantastic.
It's got a feel of its own. It's beautiful things. So tell me, 5 things you love about Canada.
5 things I love.
Diversity, I'm sure, is one.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That was one of my points, right? I said right in the beginning, I was talking about that. Absolutely. I think it's so, so awesome. I love that there's so many different languages, and then I can at least speak a little bit of Italian every now and then because I can find somebody.
Italian mama coming out again.
Exactly. But then there's always an Afrikaner, which is so cool because I'm talking to somebody in the shop and then someone will say, "Is jy Andrea?" I was like, "Yes. Oh my word." They're like, you can't miss a South African. It is so cool. So yeah, diversity is definitely number 1. You know what I love? It's just amazing are the distinction of 4 seasons, that they are so completely different, and the transition into each one. Winter is, I don't know. It's for me, it's romantic. It's magical. I love the winter. And then like now we move into spring. I mean, I can stand outside and just be in awe of the blossoms and how things just suddenly start to change. Spring is probably our best. We every year we say, no, it's autumn. And then we say it's spring. We can't decide. So it's the different beautiful seasons, it's very different to what you used to in South Africa or whichever country you come from. Canada's seasons are amazing, amazing. I think that what is really cool is that things work well in Canada. So my experience on this is my eldest daughter, has just applied for university. So when we applied, you apply never for one university, you apply for 3 or 4 at the same time. So when you get like a special code and you plug it into some kind of website, you click on all the universities you want to apply to, and it just disseminates all your information. Like you just can't believe, like, systems are so amazing. It just works. We get confirmation emails back like, yes, you've applied to Waterloo, you've applied here, you've done this. Like, it's just, our information just got literally populated into an email. We didn't have to go and type our address and your postal code and whatever. It's like, it's just unbelievable. So from that point of view, we moved house. I go and apply for a new health insurance card or a new driver's license. They'll say, oh, ma'am, it'll be with you in 5 days. Literally 5 days or whatever they tell you. It's in your post box. I think that it's just really nice. It's just, wow. It's a wow thing. And I love that about Canada.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think, look, their maple syrup is spectacular. There's a lot of it to go around. But I've heard that the maple syrup in other countries is often flavored. It's never the real thing. I didn't know that. And when you do have the real thing, you will know it. It's mind-blowing. And then when you get to have it with bacon on toast and you learn to eat it like that, you'll never go back. It's so good.
And then have you ever had with the winter festivals when they do the maple taffy on ice, where they make
I haven't, but I've seen it. It's so
bucket
cool.
list stuff. Bucket list stuff
Absolutely.
that you've got to do.
And have you seen those things? It looks like it's on a skewer. They're chicken waffles. It's chicken with waffle on the outside, and then they put syrup on it.
Oh,
it's ridiculous. They actually sell that at Plank restaurant in Oakville.
Oh, wow.
So they're chicken waffle skewers, and they've got maple syrup. Who would have thought? We bought one and shared it, and then we bought another 6 more. They were so good. You know what else? My last thing I think that I love about, it's not specific about Canada, but living in Canada gives you easy access to other places that you would never in your lifetime go to if you were so far south in South Africa at the bottom of a different continent.
Yeah.
So living in Canada gives you access. I can drive and do an 8 to 9 hour trip in my car right now and be in New York City. That is exciting.
Cool.
Like, New York is so amazing. The other thing is you can go to Costa Rica. You can go to Jamaica. There are places that are kind of closer than you think, and that is amazing.
So what we did is a girls trip. I had family coming over, and we did a girls trip. And one of the bucket list stuff we did was we said we wanted to have buffalo wings in Buffalo. And within 2 hours, we could have, and we had buffalo wings. So if you ever go down to Buffalo, have buffalo wings at it's called the Anchor Bar.
Awesome! Is that in downtown Buffalo?
There's one in Buffalo, just as you cross the border.
Yes.
Okay. There's an Anchor Bar there, but there's actually an Anchor Bar here in Toronto City as well. it is the best chicken wings. So one of the things that Toronto is famous for, butter tarts, one of them that you've got, if you don't have,
yes, I've heard of that.
Tart, what have you had? And then the second thing is the chicken wings. Chicken wings is a big thing in Canada.
Exactly. And just so that the note here, the disclaimer is that it's not a buffalo's wings, because buffaloes don't have wings. Jokes.
Let's
And the other thing is you go to Philly for Philly steak, right?
Oh, so man, look,
that's what I want to do. My husband's had it. He said it's ridiculously awesome. So yeah, there are all these bucket list things that you could be excited about.
These cool things. So so 5 things that kind of like does not really float your boat about Canada. Is there some of those that you kind of go,
It's hard. It's hard maybe because I'm an eternal optimist. I think that, you know what? The winters can drag a little bit.
Yeah.
I think as you get into February and March, you're kind of thinking, okay, right, this is it now. Come on,
let's push through.
Yeah, and it can start to be a little tough. So you need to really push through that and you need to have a strong mind, really, really try to get through that. So that can be hard.
It's tough, yeah.
You know what is interesting is writing checks in Canada. It's not a bad thing about Canada. It's not even a train smash. It's just like, really, must I write checks? Why? It kind of, when we started doing that, I was like, this feels a bit backward, like the banking system. But it's not. It's one of the things I do, and I actually find it quite quaint.
And then have you the experience of signing a check, or when you on the other side of it, when you receive a check and you sign the check at the back? Here's something that they do differently: is when you receive the check and you need to sign it, you can then take a photo of the check and then direct deposit it, and it goes into your bank. How amazing is that?
No, it is amazing. It's amazing.
Is there other stuff that you kind of say this didn't really quite go down as I wanted it to be, or?
I think I've only got one more thing. Like if I think about, there's often long commutes to get to places. I think that maybe also like with Georgia, when we first got here with her hockey, man, we had to travel far to get to places. So from Oakville to University of Toronto can be quite far. And I think it's just, you need to prepare yourself for that. I'm living in Oakville. I want to go to Square One. It might take me 15 minutes today, but it might take me 25 tomorrow. Yeah. There are accidents on the 401. I'm always on Google Maps or on Waze because you just never know.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of being in a first world country and in a big place, a lot of cars, a lot of lanes across, right?
It's enormous.
It's just big and it's different. So you need to suck it up, prepare yourself. Whereas at home, you'd be like, oh, I'll be there for coffee, and you like get ready 5 minutes before the time. You can't do that here. You need to really prep and think about traffic and that things are going to take literally a half an hour longer than what you used to. So that's that. The other big sad thing is that we don't have Woolworths, and I'll keep saying it until they come here. But that's not a big thing. Oh, you know what else is maybe? I think that the cost of living is pretty high in Canada.
It is.
It is. It's really high, and I think it's a plus and a negative because the cost of living is high, and yet I feel like to go on holidays is relatively cheaper than what you would do in South Africa for what you're getting. Like, whoa, you're going to go all the way to Costa Rica, and you're going to spend $2,500, and it includes the flights for like how many people? Like, it's a lot more doable, that kind of thing. So it's just one of those things, and we live here and we live with it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, that's how it is.
I think up to that is, it's the fact that you're so close to places, so it could work so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'm going to end this one off because I'm going to ask you for the listeners that wants to hear some more. I'm going to have a separate little 10-minute podcast with you asking about the 5 questions that you get asked the most. So they must keep staying on and checking with us next week to get that questions answered. But so I want to end this off. And so what is the one piece of advice that you'll give to people that's coming to Canada that you say, this is really important and I want to leave you with this one?
Yeah. I was referring to it a little bit earlier, talking about our destination consultant and how super helpful she was when we landed. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in the form of a destination consultant where you spend so much money on just one specific person. We were very lucky with Kevin's company where we were given this lady to help us with literally anything we needed. She drove us around, etc. But to have the support of a company or somebody that can say, you know what, point you in the right direction. What is a balance sheet? Where do I go for XYZ? How do I sort out my insurance number? What do I do about the stupid driver's license? What documentation do I need? It could be anything. It's like, so tell me about this area, honestly. Like, would you live here? So you can have kind of a relationship with somebody or a company that you trust. It makes a massive difference. I am so grateful for having somebody like that. And so whatever format that is for you, even if it costs you a little bit of money, it makes a huge difference. You won't make as many mistakes. Yeah. It's like thinking about things like buying a car. Which car should you get? Oh, really? I should have bought the car with the winter tires on. And now they're going to charge me extra. Like things that you don't think about, people can help you with, which is really, really awesome. So I would suggest getting in contact with a company or somebody that can help you. It's for me, it was amazing. It was really, really invaluable.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And that's also part, I think, where Howzit was started, was saying that people have those questions. They've got that same kind of questions, and you want to relate to people that have had the same experience. So we are, as the Howzit Group, we're part of a South African group of people that really want to help you. And what is your experience? Because we've been through it. We understand the process of having to financially immigrate. That is the question that you would have, or what it would mean to bring over your pension funds, or what does it mean to start over in terms of a new business, or how do you get your resume converted? Those kind of questions. Sure. Those are things. Yeah. So it's come out of a request for people really wanting to connect with people that understand what they're going to be going through. So it's out there and it's available. It's available via people like yourself chatting to it about, and there are those kind of guys that just need to reach out to us and we can.
I think you guys are doing a sterling job, and the more people can have helping each other, it's fantastic. There are so many thousands of South Africans coming into Canada annually. And I guess there are a lot of people waiting. They're ready to come over, but because of COVID, they're stuck at home. And so you guys must just fuss bait. It's really about, you've come so far, don't stop, continue with the paperwork and do what you need to do. But I'm so excited to eventually meet some of you. I've talked to a lot of you. Ons gaan baie koffie drink, julle. And you guys better get to do my yoga, because everyone's getting a little bit large sitting at home with COVID and eating donuts and making all these amazing recipes and food.
Yeah, with all the yeast being nowhere, you can't find yeast and flour here in Canada. So you're going to need some yoga right there,
Excellent. Thanks. True.
That's been great. So that's all for today of the episode of the Howzit.ca podcast. Thanks for listening. And thank you so much, Andrea, for joining us. It's been great having you on the show.
Oh, it's been fabulous. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for everything, Melanie. It was super cool.
It was cool. So for the guys, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're there. We're on LinkedIn, where we share more tips and stories about life in Canada. Until next time, guys, see ya.
This episode of the Howzit.ca podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more casual conversations, success stories, and advice to South Africans in Canada.